The year was 2081, and everybody was finally equal. They weren't only equal before God and the law, they were equal every which way. Nobody was smarter than anybody else. Nobody was better looking than anybody else. Nobody was stronger or quicker than anybody else. All this equality was due to the 211th, 212th, and 213th Amendments to the United States Constitution, and to the unceasing vigilance of the agents of the United States Handicapper General. Some things about living still weren't quite right, though. April, for instance, still drove people crazy by not being springtime, and it was in that clammy month that the HG men took away George and Hazel Bergeron's 14-year-old son, Harrison. It was tragic, all right, but George and Hazel couldn't think about it very hard. Hazel had perfectly average intelligence, which meant she couldn't think about anything except in short bursts. And George, while his intelligence was way above normal, had a little metal handicap radio installed in his ear. It was required by law to wear it at all times. It was tuned to a government transmitter. Every 20 seconds or so, the transmitter would send out some sharp noise to keep people like George from taking unfair advantage of their brains. It was in conversation with my wife this week while watching various segments of competing Olympic athletes that she brought up this particular short story, which she had read in her English Lit class many, many years ago. Kurt Vonnegut's dystopian story, Harrison Bergeron, presents readers in a few short pages with a world where equality between all people has finally been achieved. Too beautiful? You must wear a mask. I think we're used to that by now. Too athletic? You must be permanently saddled with heavy weights. Too intelligent? You must wear an earpiece that disrupts your thoughts several times a minute. One cannot begin to conceive of a country like this participating in a competition like the Olympics, as the very foundation of the Olympiad goes against the notion of an artificially leveled playing field. As the world watches the best athletes of 205 nations competing in 33 different sports over these 2.5 weeks, one can't help but marvel at the spectacle of it all. The years of preparation, the discipline which lead one to even be considered to be sent to Tokyo to represent their country are among the most demanding trials known. One puts the rest of their life on hold as they pour every ounce of themselves into the perfection of their chosen sport. And then they are placed on the world stage, a spectacle for the masses. Compete well, and you or your team go home with a medal. Make a false move, and you're not just out of luck. You've let your country down. Beyond all others in her discipline, there is one Olympian who is known as the best, the strongest, the most daring, and the most skilled. Simone Biles is quite literally decked in gold, and from her we have come to expect nothing less. When I watched her walk out onto the floor this week, I, like many around the world, held my breath and I prepared to be amazed. So what happened? Well, Simone prepared us for this. Since 2006, the Federation of International Gymnastics has been using a scoring system meant to be more fair and accurate by its methods of accounting for both execution, which is capped at 10 points, and a level of difficulty, which is open-ended and accrues at 1/10 of a point, represented by letters of the alphabet, A, B, C, and so on. This means that if several gymnasts are competing and one is capable of H-level difficulty, while the rest are only capable of F or G-level difficulty, and I assure you that is very high-level difficulty, the gymnast performing a more risky routine could beat out their opponents while achieving the same execution score. This works well in a world of F or G-capable athletes, but when a competitor like Simone Biles walks out onto the stage, her unmatchable skills add to her already considerable edge. Simone has been vocal about a tendency which has arisen among the judges of gymnastic competitions in which scores for more daring routines are intentionally being marked down. Judges claim they have done this to dissuade athletes from attempting potentially dangerous maneuvers, merely to up their score, but Simone isn't buying it. In Vonnegut's 2081 that we just heard about, Simone believes she has been saddled with heavy bags to weigh her down, to keep her from reaching the sky with unmatchable maneuvers like her gravity-defying signature move, named after her, the Biles. But another dazzling gymnastics routine by Simone Biles is not the reason she's in the news this week. In stepping off the mat and withdrawing from the Olympic Games, Simone revealed that while some injuries heal within weeks, others are open-ended and have a difficulty level which cannot be accurately judged nor definitively healed. Back in 2018, Simone bravely revealed to the world that she was one of many gymnasts on the United States team who had been sexually assaulted by their doctor, Larry Nassar. In describing her ordeal and that of her fellow gymnasts, whom she stood up for vocally, Simone said that with gymnasts, when you get injured, your heal time is 4 to 6 weeks. But with something so traumatic that happens like this, there's no 4 to 6 weeks. So it's hard for us to process that. There's no time limit or healing time for it, so you just have to take it day by day. Very often, it is not the injuries that we sustain publicly and physically which cause us the most harm. A struggle may be fought deep within, often silently, invisible to others, yet it is that invisibility which makes it all the more damaging and difficult to overcome. We've stigmatized mental health and self-care. We have delegitimized a pain which we cannot see and walked away from others when we are most needed. Strength should not mean having to perform for others to prove your worth when everything inside you is screaming, no. Simone Biles took a seat. When she did stand up, though, it was to be the first to congratulate her Russian competitors who had secured the gold medal for their country, with her own country earning silver. Sometimes strength is taking a knee when others stand. Sometimes strength is taking a stand when others sit. Sometimes strength is tapping in when you know the odds are against you. And sometimes strength is tapping out when the risk to yourself is greater than the reward. May our strength be to stand for those who need to sit out, even when they are the best, even when we are counting on them, especially when we are counting on them. And may others stand for us when it is our turn to take a seat. Shabbat Shalom.